Who knew tonight was the season finale of Raw? I didn't. Anyway, it's time to review Monday Night Raw for the week of September 23rd, 2019 on WrestleDOWN. Hey guys, are you ready for your hot tag? Because if you are, it's definitely time to work.
This is the Hurricane, and you're watching WGS-TV. And if not, what's up with that?
What's up, guys? I'm the Wrestle Gamer. Welcome back to WrestleDOWN right here on WGS-TV. And joining me on the Raw review this week, ladies and gentlemen, you know him as the Studly Man, Ashley. Ashley, how you doing?
That's how I'm doing.
So it's not an upside down this week. It's like sideways.
Well, there was no graphical errors like last week. Although that wasn't Kevin's fault, as it turns out. In clarification, if you didn't see SmackDown or any NXT review, it was actually this guy's fault.
Michael, not that one.
Not that one.
The one standing in for Kevin.
The one that was standing in for Kevin because NXT.
Oh, anyway, guys. WWE tonight would just absolutely drill into our heads repeatedly that tonight was the season finale and next week was the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. Now, it makes sense to debut new graphics, and from what I've heard, they will be debuting new sets for both Raw and SmackDown, and to add to that, WWE is bringing back Pyro, so it'll be interesting to see just who gets branded Pyro as part of their entrances from now on. I wonder if they'll use a burning pyro to Rollins' entrance for the burn it down part of his theme. It would kind of fit, kind of makes sense. But,
or we just saving all the money for Fox, so,
Well,
Rock's getting his pyro back.
Definitely. Well, anyway, guys, let's talk about Raw. Raw would open up with Seth Rollins coming out to talk about how he overcame the odds with Lesnar and with Strowman, and we'll also go on to talk about why he closed his eyes last week with the Fiend on him at the end of Raw, saying that he was hoping it was just a nightmare that would go away. Then Braun Strowman would make his presence known, saying something to the effect that if Rollins had something to say about him, that he should do it face to face. This would only fire up the Universal Champion, who would throw out a challenge to the Monster Among Men, which set up what we now know at this time now, Ash, as the main event for this week.
Yeah. There isn't much else to say, really. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, just
this match that we saw, we need to see again for hashtag
reasons. For the first match of the night, we would have the OC, who came out to a new theme. Here's the thing, I don't know, Ash, did you get a chance to hear the new theme for the OC?
Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad. Might have to sort of grow on me, but it's not something that I was like, what the shit are they doing? Which we'll get to later on in the night.
Well, anyway, it was the OC taking on the Viking Raiders. What we have here, guys, is basically Power Team versus Power Team. And if you remember back to the Tag Team Gauntlet match a few weeks ago, these two teams got themselves disqualified out of the match when they wouldn't let up against each other. Both of these teams would try to prove who was the more dominant team, but Styles would try to tip things in the favor of the OC, but would end up getting himself ejected from ringside and had a nice little confrontation with Cedric Alexander once again on the stage. The OC nearly got the Duke with the Boot of Doom, but things would go sour for them as they tried to go for the Magic Killer on Eric, who kicked his way out of it. Gallows would get sent to the outside, which left Anderson prime and open to the Viking experience as the Raiders would pick up the win here. Ash, what are they doing here with the Raiders and the OC? It's just, I don't understand it.
I think we can answer it with one question. Who is AOP? It's clearly getting to the point where it's just like we're having to establish that the tag team division exists again. considering how the last and current champions are makeshift tag teams. Well, they've got all these other tag teams that they're refusing to push. Where are the Usos?
Again, we asked that question, I think, on one of the podcast episodes last week. So, Michael Cole would interview Becky Lynch backstage about her decision to have her match with Banks inside Hell in a Cell. Becky's answer, basically, is to keep Sasha from running to the exit like she did at Clash of Champions. That's essentially the gist of the interview that I got, Ash.
Take her to the ladies' restroom. Oh, wait, that's a bit of a problem. Take her to the men's restroom, Sasha. Oh, wait, she's the man. Shit. That joke from 99 at work. Oh.
Up next, it was Rusev taking on the former 24/7 champion EC3. EC3 would have a brief flurry at the beginning of the match, but with Rusev returning last week, albeit in one of the stupidest segments on Raw I have ever seen, with the draft coming up, they want to make Rusev look strong going into it. So he would gain control and not let up against EC3, as the finish of the match was Rusev locking the Accolade on EC3 to pick up the win. I think probably the best thing I remember from this match right here, Ashley, is Michael Cole coming up to both Corey Graves and what's her face? Dean Ambrose's wife. Renee Young.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But saying that you guys got it from here?
It's an early sign that he's retiring. Sad face. Oh shit, it's fucking raining outside. Not Billy's raining, so this video won't drop. And then it will just freeze, and then that'll be the perfect season finale. We just cut to black.
Well,
season premiere.
At least we didn't hear Corey Graves say.
Technically, we had the season premiere on Twitch. Cheap plug for Billy's Twitch channel.
And well, essentially, we didn't have to hear Corey Graves say this week.
It doesn't seem to me like Maria's the problem. The fact that Mike Kanellis is a clear beta cut is the problem.
I do wonder whether he got any heat for that.
I would have to imagine so.
I haven't heard anything, but normally if you haven't heard anything, that means something probably happened.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that he realized the error of his ways.
Up next, it was Sasha. Go ahead.
The non-young buck that he is, because I'm rhyming stuff with beta and duck.
Crack. Anyway, up next, it was Sasha Banks taking on Nikki Cross and.
Total Goose Game.
Oh God! Wouldn't have to be honk instead of quack. And I have to say, for what it was, I actually enjoyed this match. Both Banks and Cross, to me, were on top of their games. And some response I want to bring up: Cross would hop on the back of Sasha with a sleeper hold on the outside of the ring, and Sasha countered by dropping straight down on the floor. Later in the match, Cross would hit her fisherman's neckbreaker. Why can't they say fisherman's neckbreaker? That's essentially what the move is. It's a fisherman's neckbreaker. Is that really that hard for them to call that?
In these days of Brexit and whatever, and the fishing policies, they don't want to encourage fishermen having their necks broken. So,
oh God!
It's probably something as stupid as that.
Well, anyway, Cross would hit her finisher, but then Bayley would hop on the ring apron to distract her and the referee, but Alexa would end up making her pay for it on the outside. Cross would go up to the top for a crossbody, but Banks would counter it into a Banks statement, forcing Nikki to tap out. After the match, Alexa would also find herself in the Banks statement as well. So my question to you, Ash, is WWE building Banks and Bayley up?
As is what might be accurate, because it's fucking thundering over here. So if I suddenly disappear off the video, everybody will know why. So I'm just warning you. Billy might have to do it solo. That would be the ultimate season finale. I get cut off and I get cut out the rest of the video.
All right, so the question I want to ask you for right here is:
if if that happens, Billy, in post, put the sound effect on that I sent you.
Okay. So
I get when I disappear due to power cut.
Alright, is WWE building Banks and Bayley up for another one with the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships?
I mean, they're teasing it, but the problem is they're going to be on different brands.
Well, yeah. But still, with the WWE Women's Championship, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, they're supposed to be on both brands.
Yeah, but how do you do that when the brand split is dead? That's the only problem now. We've done these belts that are valid on both brands, but we're not doing the brand split anymore. Once the draft comes, everybody that's on their brand will only be on their brand and they won't show up on the other brand. In which case, how the hell do you do that when how the hell do you do that when the titles are supposed to be inter-brand? Are we just is this another thing that's going wrong? Is this Dark Raw or Raw After Dark or whatever they called it, or Wildcard Rule or whatever?
Or you know what I could do right here, since we're talking about that, I can turn this black and white. And now we're back.
We're not the NWR yet.
No, but if you remember for the Dark Raw, whenever they had the promo signs up, everybody was in black and white. Do you not remember that?
Oh. There's a reason why we don't remember it, but it sucked.
Well, speaking of things we didn't want to remember, up next it was Lacey Evans taking on Ember Moon. First off, should we even talk about what Evans did on her Twitter about her getting stopped by the Canadian police for a traffic stop?
Because it's what's evolved into what apparently is a storyline, even though the police are claiming that it isn't. In which case, that might be an interesting payoff that WWE might have to do. Just play along. It's all part of a segment, right?
Right. Moon jump-starting the match with that dropkick to the neck was intense, to say the least. They even showed it in slow motion, and it looked even worse in slow motion, especially with a shot right here. Like,
fully correct, though.
I'm sorry?
That's not fully correct. It's not fully correct.
What did I get wrong?
It wasn't in a tent. It was in a ring.
Okay. For the most part, it was Moon taking it to Evans.
Oh, right. More humor went over Billy's head.
Anyway, how about that apron springboard stunner on the outside, Ash? That was indeed a really good spot.
Oh no, that was good. It was what you expect from Lacey, not so much.
Yeah, but here's the part I don't get. I mean, to me, Moon is a much more talented person than Lacey Evans is, but here's how the finish would go. Moon was climbing up to the top and left herself open to the women's right. Evans, after that, would lock on a sharpshooter very badly, if I do say so myself, to pick up the win. I don't understand this. Ember, in my book, is much more talented in the ring than Lacey Evans is. Lacey Evans is okay, but she's not at the level that Ember Moon is right now. And they put Evans, who is right here, over on Moon, who is much more talented?
Yeah. The curse of NXT.
They were both in NXT. They were both in NXT.
Okay, no. Lacey was brought up because she was Vince's project. She's gonna be, in his mind, it's the 4 horsewomen at the top of the women's division and Lacey. Lacey is number 5. Well, there is nobody else that is going to be considered other than those 5.
Then they really need to work with her. I mean, immensely. Especially with how sloppy she did that sharpshooter. for those of you who don't know, she didn't, for the sharpshooter, after you cross the legs and flip them over, you're supposed to sit back. Evans did not do that. She went to her knee and basically had Ember's knees on the mat. That was like a really, really sloppily done sharpshooter. So, we just wanted to paint that vivid picture for you guys.
Fair play to Natty. She did acknowledge that in the bloody promo by saying she ain't got it perfect. No,
yeah.
That's correct. 10 points for Gryffindor. If I knew exactly what house Natalia was, I'd have probably used. I'm not doing my expert journalism like Corey Graves.
yeah. Well, anyway, once again, R-Truth and Carmella were running for their lives because of the 24/7 championship. However, Carmella would get the men chasing them to stop, would tell R-Truth she's tired of running, and would give the impression that she was breaking up with him, but instead would roll up Truth for the 3 and capture the 24/7 championship. And instead of being angry, R-Truth was elated that Carmella was the new 24/7 champion. But before they could celebrate, out would come the Iconics, Sarah Logan, and a few others chasing her. Basically, we went from the mid-card men chasing R-Truth for the 24/7 championship here, Ash, to the mid-card women chasing Carmella for the 24/7 championship.
Genius. It means that it's not actually just stuck to one gender. I mean, we've already established it. I'm trying to think.
Kelly, Maria Kanellis, Medusa,
I forgot about that.
And Medusa.
Thing. Yeah. And obviously we had that attempted cash-in, or attempted win from Bliss on R-Truth back at the Clash.
I remember that.
So precedent has been set.
And how about the looks on the faces of the men that were left at ringside, especially Drake Maverick? I mean, I couldn't help but laugh at that. Yeah, just absolutely dejected. I'm like, I'm never gonna get to fuck my wife. By the way, if you guys absolutely believe that he hasn't actually fucked his wife yet, then you need to have a serious fucking wake up call. Up next, go ahead.
You are whatever that sounded that Corey said.
Oh wait, you mean this?
Don't play it. Don't play it.
Right.
No. Oh, stop it.
All right, I stopped it. And up next
What he given him
was a rematch from the King of the Ring finals, as it was King Corbin taking on Chad Gable. Now, Corbin and Gable last week put on a spectacular match for the King of the Ring finals, so when I heard they were doing a rematch, I was all for it. Gable and Corbin have proven that they have great chemistry together last week, and I feel they did it again this week. First off, the tweaking they did to Corbin's entrance theme, it still needs some tweaking. We kind of get...
They got rid of the best bit. They got rid of the ear. But at the same time, the regal intro that they do that then builds into his actual music makes sense.
Yeah, but they need to blend it better. They need to blend it better.
Yeah. Well, no, at the beginning bit blends perfectly.
But it's the next parts.
It's sort of, yeah. It's the they use, rather than just using the notes for the regal trumpets, if you will, for the regal trumpets for the refrains, I guess you could call them, in the stuff. They're sort of more like, I don't know, American sort of alpha sort of trumpets. And they're not in the same key as the music was. They're sort of near it. It's like it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit with the way it sounds. It just needs... What they need to do is just do the... If it is CFO $sign or whatever. have the sort of trumpet tones be in what sounds like the sort of chorus bit of Corbin's, entrance music, rather than stuff that's sort of close to it.
Yeah, this is the reason why I said it still needs some tweaking. Other than that, the match was once again great. Corbin played the crowd perfectly to get heat from them, and the crowd really got behind Gable just like they did last week. Gable had the ankle lock cinched in on Corbin until he crawled to the corner, grabbed his scepter. I'll give you guys a moment to giggle. Okay. And nailed Gable with it. Once again, I'll give you guys a moment to giggle. Okay. Causing a disqualification. Corbin would continue the punishment with the scepter and would leave Gable bloodied from the mouth and laying in the middle of the ring. I have to say, Ash, whatever they're doing right now with this rivalry with Gable and Corbin, they're doing it right.
Yeah. Wow. I don't like the whole Shaw dig again. All of it. I'm getting sort of sick of it. If wrestling fans aren't as fickle as that stupid sort of crap anymore. It needs to be done right rather than just feel like a rehash of other. But because of all the words and everything, it's exactly the same as what happened with Balor and Corbin 6 months ago, if that.
I believe so, and it was leading up until their SummerSlam match when the Demon came back and just absolutely pwned Baron Corbin, if I remember that correctly. And one's got to wonder, could we see a hint of the Demon at Hell in the Cell? We never know. We'll talk about that when it's time for the appropriate of the video. But up next, for the second week in a row, we would get a weird vignette from the Authors of Pain. They would go into the hall, they beat up Heath Slater and No Way Jose, and then said in their language that the men in WWE are too soft to fight them. I'm going to say this last week, Ash, like I did last week. They need to bring in somebody to speak for them. They have the look, but if they can't get themselves over in an English promo, then I personally believe that they need somebody to speak to them. Now, Paul Ellering, back in NXT, did a phenomenal job with that. He really massively put over the Authors of Pain, and that's what made them work, was Ellering being able to put them over in the promos. Because you got the sense of how dominating and how, fearsome the AOP are. Having them appear in suits like that and just randomly beat up people kind of defeats the purpose of what the original gimmick was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Storm around me. The Fiend might show up any minute behind me. The one thing I need to note, though, from the AOP is it's nobody wants to challenge us because they're soft. So let's do something about it. And they just walk out the door, and it's just like they're walking down the corridor, and people are. And then they randomly just start beating up Heath Slater and No Way Jose. And after 4 seconds, the camera feed cuts, and then all of a sudden they're there sitting back in their sort of chairs in the interview space, going, "We've showed them." And it's just like, what the hell did you show? You showed nothing. You sort of beat them down, sort of unguarded. And it's not like, it's anybody credible. It's Heath Slater, whose tag partner went to bloody Impact, and No Way Jose, who I swear is holding more people hostage than Jim Jones did at Wake. What happens to all those people that are on the conga line? They gotta go somewhere.
I don't know. Maybe they're stuck in.
They're in some sort of Guantanamo Bay sort of, Joseph Fritzl house being kept, in storage. Every night every day at 8 a.m. they're woken up to just who's it? And they've got a bloody conga for 30 minutes before they get breakfast.
Well, up next, guys, it was a fatal 5-way elimination match with the winner getting a shot at the Universal Championship next week on the season premiere of Raw. By the way, have we mentioned that next week is the season premiere of Monday Night Raw? I think it would be a good time right now, actually, to mention that next week is the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but I'm getting also distracted by New Japan announcing a few of their young boys are actually excursioning. One of which is coming to the UK, and I'm like, what? And then Rev Pro are going, what? And every other British promotion is going, what?
Anyway, it was Rey Mysterio.
Oh my god. I bloody wanted Carmella 24/7 champion. Any info at WWE Maverick? He's that desperate. He's that desperate.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, it's Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, the Glorious Robert Roode, the United States Champion AJ Styles, and the Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. And instead of going through all the details of the match here on the review, I'll just go through the eliminations as they happened. First, it was Shinsuke hitting the Kinshasa on Ricochet to eliminate him. Then, after that, the second elimination would come when Styles hit the Phenomenal Forearm on Nakamura to eliminate him. Immediately, I'm talking about after the pin, Roode would connect with the Glorious DDT on Styles to eliminate him, which left Mysterio and Roode as the final two. The finish came with Mysterio first connecting with the 619 on Roode, which set up Mysterio with the Frog Splash to pick up the win. So next week on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, it'll be Seth Rollins defending the Universal Championship against Rey Mysterio. And don't forget, guys, that the season premiere is next week.
Yeah. WWE's Twitter. Ray is feeling enough of an inspiration. Next week on the season premiere. Jesus.
Finally, it was time for the main event as Seth Rollins took on Braun Strowman. The question I kept asking myself during this match, guys, was when will they pull the trigger on the Fiend and send him out there? Well, as far as main events go for Monday Night Raw as of late, this was okay for what it was. No bad spots per se to even go over, and Rollins stumbling on the third tope suicida does not count in my book. Upon that, Strowman would catch Rollins, chokeslam him on the ring apron, and followed up with a power slam on the floor. Strowman would then bring Rollins back into the ring and would attempt yet another power slam, but the lights would go out, and once again, just like last week, the Fiend would strike, but not at Rollins, but at Strowman this time. The Fiend would lock in the mandible claw to the monster. However, Strowman didn't stay down for long, but the Fiend would once again go to the mandible claw. And then, from the way it appears to me, Ash, this is just my perspective, the way it was looking to me, and the way that the Fiend positioned himself, it almost looked like he was trying to protect Rollins from Strowman.
Maybe, but at the same time, the whole tagline, the Fiend never forget. His brother.
But didn't they say earlier in the night in the Firefly Funhouse promo, which I am sorry I forgot to mention, that maybe the Fiend wants to protect Rollins from something? Didn't he Bray Wyatt say something about that?
Oh, sharing is caring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody can have him. Nobody can have him but me. I guess in that sense it makes sense. But at the same time, season premiere.
Yep. So on that, guys, it is tough.
Oh wow! I might as well do this now. Breaking news: season premiere news. Bliss is facing Sasha next week on the season premiere of Raw. And there's a new backstage person. Who's this? Who is this person? You aren't... Or is that... Wait, is that Charlie?
It might have been.
Has Charlie got dreadlocks? Oh my god.
Well, on that...
Gee, I didn't... She's got, like, braids on the side of her hair. I didn't recognize her because she doesn't look like Charlie Caruso. It's just... Sorry, Charlie, but just from the side, you look more like Sonya Deville with the hair being done like that.
Well,
okay.
Ashley is blown away by Charlie Caruso's dreadlocks. It's time for overall score and thoughts. Raw this week, in my mind, was an improvement over the shit show they put on last week. For starters, the crowd wasn't dead for about 90% of the show, and they actually had some decent matches this week. Viking, Raiders, and OC did what they needed to do, although I remain skeptical on the theme change for Gallows and Anderson, because I liked their original theme. The Becky Lynch interview felt a little bland. Rusev looked strong against EC3, but who doesn't these days? Banks and Cross was okay, but I'm left wondering what are they doing with Alexa and Nikki when it comes to the Women's Tag Team Championship. Lacey Evans, for the love of God, learn how to fucking execute a sharpshooter correctly. Carmella winning the 24/7 championship, and now the female mid-carders will get TV time. Gable and Corbin for the second week in a row brought it. Can we please stop the weird AOP vignettes? The Fatal 5-Way was decent, but why have a different number one contender on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw when Hell in the Cell is 6 days after that? Strowman and Rollins was again okay, and I like how they're using the Fiend here almost in a way to, like I said, from my perspective, protect Rollins and not share him with anybody else. Overall score of Raw this week gets a 2.75 out of 5, a much better show this week than last week, with best match of the night for the second week in a row going to Corbin and Gable, in worst segment of the night going to Lacey Evans executing that piss poor version of a sharpshooter. Ash, over to you. Overall score and thoughts.
Ooh, overall, I'd say a 2.75. I don't know. The first couple of hours did sort of feel a bit plodding, even though we actually had some very good wrestling. It felt, some of the stuff went nowhere, and then with the Lacey Evans stuff. 5-way elimination was good. All in all, with the in-ring stuff, it delivered, I'd say. Sort of the rest of the stuff didn't, even though it was a more wrestling-heavy show than I remember it being. Let's see what happens with the season premiere.
Well, anyway, guys, that's been our thoughts on the season finale of Monday Night Raw. By the way, did we mention that next week is the season premiere of Monday Night Raw? We just want to make sure you guys are left knowing that next week is the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. Just want to make sure you guys remember that. Well, anyway, guys, we want to know what you guys have to...
Hang on. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got the season finale and the finale ever of SmackDown on USA. Right before the season premiere of NXT. No, right before the season premiere of SmackDown next Friday. But then we've also got the not season premiere, because that was last week's season premiere of NXT. Except the second hour will be season premiere exclusive on the network, at least for this last week, because then the season premiere will be exclusively NXT. Because of the season premiere of AEW's Dynamite.
See.
Michael,
we carry the one over here, then we multiply it by a season premiere here, then we divide it by a season finale here, and equals who the fuck cares. Anyway, guys, we want to know what we care about, though.
Who gives a damn when Japan's doing an interesting looking show? New Japan's doing an interesting looking show in New York on Saturday.
But what we definitely care about is hearing what you guys have to say about Monday Night Raw this week. What are your overall scores? What are your thoughts? What are your picks for the best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week? Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Be sure to put your comments in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, be sure to slam that like button. Like a champ, and if you guys want to see more of WrestleDOWN right here on the channel, you know the two ways you got to do it. You got to leg drop the subscribe button and hit that bell icon to turn on notifications. And That way you guys will never miss out. I'm not editing that out, by the way. That way you guys will never miss out on another video right here on my channel. So, with my special thanks to the Studly Man Ashley, I'm your friendly neighborhood wrestle gamer, who is human, who is prone to making mistakes, and I'll also like to remind each and every one of you to just stay awesome. Bye, guys!
This is a season finale, so we need to do a season finale thing and then cut to black after I do some revelation. Like, Billy, I killed your hamster.